On this episode of Big Brain Garage, the Red Dragon mounts the Star Pony. Wait.
We've been breaking it, fixing it, blowing money down the drain. But thank God we got a big old brain, big brain garage. Crazy and stupid, big brain garage.
Nice and easy. We're going to put it down, but not take all the pressure off. I don't want to crunch anything. That's good right there. All right, now we can start talking about getting tranny hooked up. Probably take a good look at the rear main seal as well. See if we got any leaks there. It looks pretty good right now, but I double check.
Casey was working, so I invited my buddy Tyler over to help me with the flywheel and clutch. The only problem was we forgot a step.
Okay, now key thing to remember is to read your manual so you don't put on the flywheel without putting on the cover first. Let's take it off.
This time we got the order of assembly correct, got the plate on, then the flywheel. I probably could have wedged that pry bar in there to hold it against the ground to torque it on, but this is really great when you have a buddy that can stop by real quick and help you hold it in place while you torque that son of a gun on.
Okay. Next step. Mount this baby up. It's gonna sit still. So my first plan was to put the transmission on the engine cart where the camera is now, and then bring the engine up and then hook up that way. I'm kind of eyeballing it here. I got my engine stand, looking at it, and it is crazy how close the tire to engine stand is. Listen, if you got a lot of money and all that stuff, maybe you've got some complex lifts. Out here, you just got to make do with what you got. Good old tire and a sheet of plywood. So I think I'm going to go ahead and try it because it is so dang close. I need to bring up the engine just a tiny bit, but I mean, this is stable. This is stable. I can add some dunnage here. And so let's just see if we can bring it together.
Now, as I've said before, Star Pony and Ruth shared the same engine, the G54. Now, when we rebuilt Ruth's engine, the transmission was already in the vehicle, so we just dropped the engine in and hooked it up. But it wasn't that simple. Despite greasing the splines, lining everything up, it just wouldn't take. I came across the same problem here on my two rudimentary mounts when I tried to line these two up. So again, I got it as close as I could and then just used the bolts to bring it together. It didn't feel like it was binding or catching, just for some reason, getting it started was so tough.
Almost there. I think we're fully seated. As good as it's gonna get. I just gotta find some bolts that'll fit. Back in the day, if you wanted to remap your ECU, you might have to go to that one guy your buddy kind of knows he met at a swap meet, but he's only available Tuesday morning at 5 a.m. and pulls out a laptop and all that and reconfigures your ECU. Well, on the Starion, there is a direct upgrade, and it's actually not from some weird guy that lives out in the woods. It's actually from Mitsubishi itself. They remapped the ECU in 88 and 89 to squeeze a few more ponies out of it. So we're going to check and see if we have the right model, and if not, swap it out. Free horsepower. MD 106394. Okay, so turns out that's the 87 Starion ECU. So we're going to swap that out quick and get some of them free ponies. Okay. There's like the tiniest little corners on this connector. And finally got pruning them. So now 2 screws and we got it. So I'm just discovering the 88, 89, and 87 have different screw patterns. It's great. It's great. We're going to take them out and swap them, and I'm sure nothing will go wrong. Before we dig into those, I want to show you one other thing I've started doing on this one. So for this, I started doing a project log. Initially, it was just everything I'm working on, but at the very least, everything I've done as far as new parts is in red. Black will be my notes, and so I'm going to try doing that. Now, what I don't want to do is include the cost of parts, because that's something you should never think about, is how much money you've thrown into your project car. So don't do that. But maybe that'll work for you guys, maybe not. But I'm excited to have at least a record, and I can kind of see where I've been, what I've done, and what more I might need to do. So I pulled off the 87 cover, kind of. Okay. Wow. Now it's just sitting in there with 6 screws. So, normally I don't mind taking out the DeWalt for breaking stuff, for removing screws, but I am way too scared for this. So, now this is the 87, the one we're getting rid of. So, if we're going to have any mistakes, let's have it with this one, right? And you didn't hear this from me, but whenever I go to the junkyard to get parts, you can always think of it too as in like, oh, I'm going to practice removing and installing on this car that I don't care about, right? And you don't want to be destructive and tear stuff up. But I always find going to the junkyard, you can make more mistakes there when you're like, oh, when I pulled off that door panel, there actually was one more clip and I kind of destroyed it. So don't do that. So it's so nice to have a junkyard nearby. That's my happy place. People go to church on Sunday. I go to the junkyard, and just that's my piece. We might do a junkyard episode. I think it'd be really fun. I know Casey loves going to the junkyard too. It's kind of fun because I think like every car has a story that's in there, right? And maybe it's like just some beige, boring Camry, but don't vehicles reflect the people? Don't they reflect who people are and stuff? And so when I'm there, I try to imagine the stories that each vehicle tells, because there's so many stories there. Or maybe it's just that I have way too vivid of an imagination. That could be too. We're not going to rule that out. Okay, so here is our 88 MD120197. As you can see, they're flipped. And if it was upside down, it would actually kind of work, but we need to be right side up for that connector, so we will carefully remove the ECU cover. Yeah. Careful. Be very careful. Scary. This is like one of those things where, like, how rare it is. That's what I'm catching on, is these clips. And you can kind of see there's like a little smiley face there, a little bend. But all the pins and connectors are there and look good. Little booger on that one, but we're okay. Yeah, I mean, stuff like this, And the nice thing about Starions are there actually is an aftermarket, right, for these kind of things. Whereas some of those cars, you're just screwed, right? And so you are subject to whatever you can find in the junkyard. MKS has like a whole standalone system. MKS Motorsport. If you're a Starion person that haven't heard of them, support them. Like Casey and I always say, support the community, because these things are rare. Rare cars are rare, and they don't. More people don't get invested in them, so we got to do our best to support the community whenever we can. It's giving me the business here. Wow. Okay, so let's look at this here. The 88 is a double decker, right? Look at that. And just for gigs and Sharpies, I think it'd be apparent, but I'm just going to mark 88, 87, and 87 case. Nobody will probably ever look at those ever again, but we won't get mixed up. We will not get mixed up. So it looks like there's some standoffs. Woo! There's some ribbon cable in there, so we're going to have to be really careful. It does look like the bolt pattern, the screws, are in the same place. So, woo, scary. Which way do we want to do this? Let's do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4, 5, 6. Okay, let's do the top first. And that way we're ready to come out.
Swapping over an ECU is such an arduous task. Not that it's like hard to remove screws and put them back in, but the fact that this is a limited resource. If you damage anything or break anything, you're just screwed. And like, maybe you can find parts, maybe you can't, but like, you have to be careful with every single part with something of this age. I can't even imagine working on something older. Actually, that might be easier because there's no electronics, right? So anyways, top care, top concern for the Star Pony as I swapped over this ECU.
Okay, case swap is complete. Let's get it in. All right, the big day is here. We're going to stuff the Red Dragon into the Star Pony. Casey's out gallivanting around, probably out skiing or something. Anyways, Big Joey D, T-Penny here. We're going to get this motor in. All right, let's go. Good.
Now, this was the scary part, right? Not only are you hoisting up that engine and transmission together, but this is a Hobo Freight jack with a Hobo Freight load leveler. So we were just hoping that it didn't completely fall apart. Now, the biggest problem we had was that crank handle. So it needed lubrication pretty bad. So I would say if you're going to do this, lube your load leveler first, as we did about midway. And after that, it got significantly better.
It's just to line up 2 holes basically, and I'll take care of the tail shaft.
Lower that. Oh, we got more. Goodness gracious.
We can swap you out. I can go and turn for a minute. I like how the first thing you said when you got here was like, I'm gonna let Tyler just run that crank there. We can try because we'll have a little bit of play with the chains. So I'd say we come in about another 6 to 8 inches, and then we can probably try and start lowering her down little by little.
Everything looking good.
Yeah, it's honestly looking great so far.
Cool.
Just make sure we're not pinching lines. Everything should be out of the way for the most part.
Got a hose there by the firewall, Joe.
There should be 2 of them sticking out. Those 2.
Heater core.
Yeah, those 2 are just fine. They should be fine. Okay. And then which way were you going?
To lower it?
Yeah.
Go toward me to lower that. Yeah, just like that.
Holy shit! Why didn't somebody lube this? Maybe just step away and avert your eyes real quick. Pro tip, lube your leveler before.
So here gets to be the tough part. You are so close. The engine only has 2 studs that it bolts down to, and then the transmission has a bracket and back. So then it's just a matter of like lefty loosey, righty tighty, tilty forward, tilty back, and just using any means necessary to get that sucker in there. The final thing that brought us home was getting the pry bars, the tranny jacked, and the chains in the right position.
Raise it.
Oh, I'm so close. There. Oh. Woo!
Was that it?
Woo! Boom! All right, let me throw in the cross member mount real quick too.
Oh yeah, you gotta throw that in.
That only left the transmission crossmember mount, which put up a good fight too, but we eventually got it locked into place.
Whew. All right, boys, we did it. What do you think?
Yeah, it looks good. Looks really good.
Ready to go again? Not
Yeah.
too bad, right? About an hour?
About an hour.
Hour? That was great. That was great. If you're gonna bring over your buddies, don't let them leave empty-handed. So these boys are gonna go home with some Big Brain Garage stickers for all their help here today.
That's what I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
Alrighty, thanks, brother.
That's it.
Thanks, sir.
Yep. I can't wait to put that sticker on the back of my car.
Wow, what a morning that was. As you can see, Red Dragon is in the Star Pony. And when you think about it, this car's been sitting for 23 years. I got an engine from Oregon, the transmission from the original car, all sorts of parts that who knows if they work, right? Hooking everything up, getting everything back together, servicing everything. So when you think about it, putting the engine and transmission in was the easy part, but I'm excited. It is forward progress. Can start buttoning this up, and man, just that first time, it's going to be special. So, thanks for tuning in on this episode of Big Brain Garage. Tune in again next week. We'll be getting this thing all hooked up and hopefully ready to hit the road. Let's go.
In the firelight, hear the metal scream. Together we'll build, living the dream. So raise your fists, let the engines roar. Two metal warriors forever, one more.
Hey. Everybody look good? Okay.
I look all right. Tyler looks like shit.
I feel like shit.